is Valley News Live at 4.
We begin with our 4 o'clock news, talking about those dips in temperatures that have arrived. And taking a look at the sky cam right here, it's a cloudy one. But right now we want to send things over to Summer Schnellbach with a look at what exactly we're going to be seeing. Summer?
Thank you so much, Bobby, and good afternoon, everyone. It's about this time of year when we start to notice those fall-like temperatures and bam, starting to think about the first frost of the season. Maybe right around the corner, but the average first date for a frost with temperatures between 32 and 36 degrees in Fargo is September 18th, September 13th for Grand Forks. Well, today's the 9th, so that's only a couple days away, and we might have some frost in our forecast. Not tonight. Right now we're seeing temperatures comfortably cool in the 60s, 68 in Fargo and in Fergus Falls at this time, 68 out in Bismarck, 66 in Langdon, Hallock, and Roseau, 67 Grand Forks. We do have a 71-degree temperature in Sisseton, South Dakota. And we have cloudier skies this evening as well. We had a cold front move through yesterday, bringing us these cooler temperatures. Now we have a bit of a secondary cold front coming through. Not as strong, but it's bringing some isolated showers through Lakes Country and the far southern Red River Valley. Speaking of frost, it's beginning out in western North Dakota, southwest North Dakota, under a frost advisory for tonight and into tomorrow morning with some low 30s expected. Here's a quick snapshot of what we can expect across the Red River Valley tomorrow morning. Temperatures mostly in the 40s, but Bobby, a little bit of a hint. We might have some frost in our forecast in the next coming days. I'll fill you in with a few more details here in just a couple of minutes. Well,
it is completely day and night when we look at today and going forward compared to yesterday. Big changes. Summer, right. Thank you so much. Well, it's day 2 in the trial for Arthur Colley, the man accused of brutally murdering a teen in South Fargo last year. Yesterday included opening statements and witness testimony, and a 30-minute video that captured the attack was shown to jurors. Authorities say 14-year-old Jupiter Paulson was stabbed more than 20 times. She died from her injuries days later. If convicted on the murder charge, Colley faces up to life in prison without the possibility of parole. One man is in custody after police say he shot off a gun in Grand Forks. They got a call around 10:30 last night about reports of gunshots near the city's library. Now, police say Scott Middledorf was on a second-story balcony and confronted 2 women who were on the lawn trying to catch a dog. Middledorf then allegedly fired a shotgun round into the air. Police tracked him to his apartment and finally arrested him around midnight. Middledorf is in jail on terrorizing, reckless endangerment, and discharging a firearm within city limits. And it was a violent night in Minneapolis. 2 people are dead, several others are hurt after multiple different shootings across the city. Police said that just after 8 p.m. last night, a 16-year-old boy was shot in a neighborhood in North Minneapolis. First responders attempted life-saving efforts, but the teen later died from his injuries at an area hospital. Then 5 hours later, another shooting took place outside of a bar that left 1 man dead and 3 more people injured. Police say that the men were inside the bar at a private party when a fight occurred and shots were fired. Then that fight eventually spilled outside the bar where more gunfire erupted. This is Minneapolis's 61st and 62nd homicides of the year. Investigators are looking into the cause of a mobile home explosion near Thief River Falls. The Pennington County Sheriff's Department says that it responded to multiple 911 calls about an explosion just outside of town yesterday. Now, authorities arrived on scene and found the fire burning. No one was hurt in the apparent explosion, and the state fire marshal is investigating. 20 apartment units were damaged after a fire in a neighborhood just north of the West Acres Mall. Fire crews were called out to the 900 block of 43rd Street South just before midnight and found flames on the 3rd floor, which spread to the attic. The building was evacuated, and there are no reports of any injuries. The North Dakota Attorney General's office has asked a judge to lift his stay on a trigger law banning abortion, arguing that he failed to make the state's lone abortion clinics show a likelihood of winning its challenge of that law. Burleigh County District Judge Bruce Romanek last month granted the request for a preliminary injunction as part of a lawsuit brought on by the Red River Women's Clinic in Fargo. State lawmakers argued the judge made no findings towards the substantial probability of succeeding on the merits, which is a factor needed to evaluate motions for preliminary injunctions. The ban was set to take effect last month. Now, the clinic has already moved its services to Moorhead, where abortion remains legal, even as it seeks to block the North Dakota law. Romanek said he was not ruling on the probability of the clinic winning the lawsuit, rather that more time was needed to make a proper judgment. Well, former Miss America Cara Mund has qualified to appear on the November ballot as an independent candidate for North Dakota's sole U.S. House seat. The Secretary of State's office said that Mund had met the 1,000 signature threshold for listing on the ballot, and she will now be going up against Republican Representative Kelly Armstrong, who is seeking a third term. Mund entered the race last month and said that her support for abortion rights motivated her candidacy.
I know that her death brings great sadness to so many of you, and I share that sense of loss beyond measure with you all.
King Charles III held his first audience with the UK Prime Minister Liz Truss at Buckingham Palace today, and he also made his first speech. He spoke about his mother and called her an inspiration and an example for him. During his speech, the king also announced that his son William will have the title of Prince of Wales, a title he held before he became king. And as many around the world are remembering Queen Elizabeth, her impact and presence are still being felt. David Schumann shows us that the impact is being felt tremendously in Minnesota.
Amazing Grace played on the pipes at Britt's Pub in Minneapolis, followed by a toast.
King Charles, God save the King.
For Brits living in Minnesota, it was a day to spend together. Rob Church got a voicemail from one of his mates he served in the military with.
And he was just crying, saying like the boss is dead. Because like, when you go in, everybody swears an oath of allegiance to Her Majesty. So we've always seen her as like the top person.
Andrew Price says it was comforting how many of his American friends reached out.
Yeah, we've seen her have kids, see the kids get married, see her have grandkids. So she's really become a part of, I think, not just British people, but in my sense, just a part of my existence.
Governor Tim Walz ordered flags to be flown at half-staff until the Queen's funeral. Even at age 96, her death still a shock to many.
It's less about mourning her and more about celebrating her. I think there's a lot to celebrate. Hearing today all the time she talked about duty and humility.
People will just be wondering, especially the younger generations, wondering what happens now.
Elizabeth's son, Charles, is now king and the first new monarch in most British people's lives.
Charles has got a lot to live up to.
It's not going to be viewed the same way. We shouldn't expect him to be the same. I think it's just going to be a huge change for a lot of us.
Whether they're ready or not. David Schumann, WCCO 4 News.
And a traditional 10-day period of mourning begins today. Well, a new season of Rides with Jade Thomas premieres on Valley News Live tomorrow at 5. You'll be able to watch 13 episodes this fall, plus a bonus blooper episode. And there are a few different ways that you can watch. Rides airs on Valley News Live at 5 p.m. on Saturdays and 10:30 a.m. on Sundays. Plus, for the first time ever, every episode will be available for free on connected TVs via Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Just download and launch the VNL app for your TV. The show will also be available on the website rideswithjthomas.com. And a reminder about some programming changes happening on Monday. Days of Our Lives will be moving off of NBC and onto the streaming service Peacock starting September 12th. The slot is being replaced with a new program called NBC News Daily. Peacock has a special offer this month for you to sign up for $1.99 a month.